All right, so we're here with Dwayne, and we're talking about setting up a virtual appointment using Zoom, which we may be getting back to more of those here very quickly with what's going on with Corona right now. So we're going to walk through this. I'm going to do a separate video that will show you how to set up a meeting and send the link to your prospective client, because that's obviously a pretty important part of the puzzle. That should happen. I don't do it too far in advance because it tends to get lost, but I'll do it at least a couple hours in advance. Send the link, the Zoom meeting request to the client. And there's some specific things we want to do there to make sure it looks correct and it doesn't look like spam or some junk that they're getting unwanted. So we'll talk about that in a separate video, but for the sake of what we're doing here, we already sent the link. Dwayne is the client, I'm the DC on Zoom. And we're going to talk about, how we go ahead and conduct an appointment. Now, Dwayne did the site inspection already, so he's scheduling his appointment as a follow-up. So in the event that we're doing a full virtual, the first thing we're going to do after we kind of build some rapport, after we get the commitment to agenda, commitment to need and action, we're going to kind of go out and inspect the floor. So they're going to be on their device. And this is an important part of the setup, is that you want to tell them they need to be on a phone or iPad, because it's very unlikely that they're going to grab their desktop computer and take it out to the garage, right? So we need, if we're doing a full inspection, like a full virtual appointment for Pentech, we need them to be on a phone or an iPad. And that needs to be digital, that needs to be movable and mobile, so they can get out to the garage, because that's how you're going to do their inspection. And there's on the iPad, if you look at my screen in the upper left, you can see it there. It says switch camera. So if I switch that, it's going to switch the perspective. So that's what you need to tell your client to do, is tap on their screen, hit that switch camera, and it's going to flip the screen around. And then they can show you every square inch of that floor. I tell them to start around the perimeter, so I can see what the verticals look like. And then I tell them basically just to walk the floor with me. And I tell them I need to see every little nook and cranny, that's on the floor, so we can price this thing accurately. So that's how you do your virtual appointment. If you, like I said, you were doing a full blown, you're not going to the house at all, virtual appointment. But for the sake of that, we've already done it. You walk through that with them, and then you have them switch the camera around. And then we're back face to face like we are right now. So it's important. I'm going to share my screen. But it's important that obviously this takes some preparation, as we know from having a high degree of success with virtual appointments last go around when everything shut down. Organization and prep is crucial for virtual appointments. So part of that is on your desktop. It needs to be organized and it needs to be set up in advance. So if you look at my desktop, I only have the things open, minus text. I only have the things open that I need. Okay, so hopefully you can either screenshot pictures from their recording. So you'd ideally want to have your company cam up for the floor, and you can actually screenshot your screen to get the pictures for company cam. So as they're walking you around the floor, you're going to tell them to pan back, step back out of the garage. If there's any access issues, they're going to need to walk that with you. And as they're taking you through, you can tell them stop, and you screen grab it and get the pictures that you need. Okay, again, this is if we were doing a full-blown virtual appointment. So that's, and the same way you would do a screen grab, any other time, is how you do it on Zoom. So you just screenshot the screen, and then you have your pictures that you can put into company cam. Get your pictures of the vertical, get your pictures of any stairs, any cracks, the apron, all that stuff you can get pictures of just as if you were there doing it yourself. So it's a pretty cool feature. I'm going to get rid of the Pro V, even though I need that here. So here, again, the setup and, kind of the prep for this is huge. So when you are on Zoom with them and you're doing a virtual appointment, you want to have their number sheet up. You want to have the presentation pulled up and queued up, ready to go. And then you want to have your company cam, just in case, you can dump the pictures into there. Worst case, you'd want to have your pictures available, but some sort of, either company cam or your photos, so that you can have access to those pictures that you're taking. Or you're not actually taking the pictures, you're screenshotting the pictures. So any questions on that, Dwayne?
No, sir.
Okay. So the next thing you're going to do is basically, and it's important to keep this still personal. It's really easy on virtual appointments to, go through the whole thing and you realize, holy crap, I haven't seen their face in 35 minutes. So it's important to toggle between what you're doing. I'm not going to cancel it or stop the screen share or recording, but it's important to go back to them and do a little check-in. So there's some FaceTime. Okay, Dwayne, now we're going to transition into kind of some really important information here. And it's not important to us necessarily. It's more important to you and you making a good decision on this project, whether that, happens to be with us or with another company. But we're going to go through a lot of information that we learned in our years of doing this Pentech product, for really the sole benefit of transferring that information to you and really equipping you with the knowledge and the understanding you need to make a good decision on this project. So we set up our presentation, and I would do this face to face. Then we transition right into the Pentech presentation. Okay. And, you always want to check in with them because you never know what their Wi-Fi is like, maybe change a few slides. Dwayne, did that transition all right? I just switched to the second slide with the company picture and then back. Did that transition okay for you?
Yes, it did. And this is where you got to keep those individual slides open when you're doing it virtual rather than when you do it in person, right, Ryan?
Yeah, because the buffering, something about when you go to the regular play mode like this,
right?
We've extensive goofing around with this, if that's what you want to call it. Right. And it does not transition correctly on Zoom. So for whatever reason, you got to be in slideshow mode and just select the slides as you go.
And as far as the consultation, that can just be done, you're not going to be able to do it using my screen since that's the only screen I have. I just know what the questions is. I'm just going to ask them face to face and jot down their answers.
Have a paper or something like that.
Sure. I got you.
You still want to do that, obviously.
Absolutely. I got you.
Okay, so we just go through the presentation like normal. The important thing here is to do check-ins because you don't know what they're doing. It's weird talking to somebody when you can't really see them and you won't be able to see them on your iPad. So make sure you're checking in with them way more, probably double than what you would normally do, which seems like a lot, but it's really not going to be a lot when you can't see face to face. There's a lot that can get lost in translation. So their answers to your check-ins will tell you their level of engagement, right? If they're doing dishes or cleaning the kitchen or making the bed or whatever, while you're doing your presentation.
Simply stepped away and you didn't even know it.
Yes.
No, I got you. That makes sense.
Check in twice as much as you think you need to when you're doing these virtual presentations.
Okay.
So you do your presentation, we get all our commitment questions, we get our commitment to company, we get our commitment to resolution, and then we're going to transition back to the face-to-face. Okay, so now we're back here. We're talking, we're going through any questions, we're wrapping up our commitment to resolution. We're doing our shopping cart, right? We got this many square feet, we got the verticals, we got the stairs, we got 15 feet, linear feet of crack repair. You talked about wanting to go out just to where the garage comes down. That's perfect. It's going to look really nice and not look weird to the outside and just look beautiful to the inside. And then we go right into commitment to value. Okay. So here, what we do again, ideally you want to have them. So I'm going to do it right now. I'm not going to screen share. But I'm going right now, I'm in my numbers, even though you still see my face, right?
Right.
So I'm getting my number sheet queued up.
Right.
Okay. Because you don't want to transition over there and then the first thing they see is the price and you're basically just, you just blew the whole thing.
Okay.
So all you have to do is go into numbers with them still on camera mode. You didn't do screen share yet. And you're just telling them, okay, I'm just putting in some final things here to make sure I got the pricing all correct, make sure I've accounted for everything properly. And then now I'm back face to face with you. Okay, and all you're doing is, just swiping up and then going back to your Zoom icon in the menu bar down at the bottom. Okay, that's how I'm transitioning. You'll be able to see it on the recording. Dwayne, you can't see it, but the recording will show me transitioning from my numbers, firewall, price, payment options page, back and forth to Zoom. So that's all you're doing is swiping up from the bottom till your menu bar comes up, like you see right now in the recording in the screen. And then you're clicking wherever you need to navigate to, whether it be the numbers firewall or back to Zoom, like I just did in the recording here.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what we're doing there. And then we go right into our price presentation. And now I said, Dwayne, I got all your numbers put together. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look. And I'm sorry if you're getting some glare behind me here. There we go. It's probably a little better. So now we're going to pull up the number sheet and I'm going to do your screen share. I'm going to share my screen again with you, Dwayne, and we're going to look exactly at the numbers that I put together so we can get a good grasp on what the project is going to cost. So I click my screen, I go back up into the upper right-hand corner where it says share content. I click that and I click screen off of the drop-down. And now this comes up, start broadcast, 3, 2, 1, we're good to go. And now I got to get my screen back. And then we're just rolling right through the process. Okay, Dwayne, so the price that is guaranteed, it's insulated against any increases, any material, labor, hard material costs, anything that would influence this price or impact this price, we're basically protecting you for a full 30 days at that price of $21.36. And then we roll through our 3 options. Again, I didn't change this, but we wouldn't have any of the discounts in here yet, right?
Right.
So it'd be a generic introduction. Dwayne, we have low interest, no interest, cash. Each of those has some different discounting, some different criteria, in terms of monthly payments and all that. But those are the 3 options. And then we go into revealing the 3 options with the discounts, which is where, you'd pump in your little amounts right here.
Yes, sir.
And then basically once we're done with that, which of those 3, when the time comes for you to begin the project, which of those 3 would be the most convenient for you? And then basically then once we have some dialogue on that, then we're basically just transitioning back. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then I go back to Zoom. And all we're doing there for, is you click on the, how to transition from, you can see it, like I said, on my screen, on the recording, you'll be able to see it. But do you know how to switch back from screen share to regular Zoom?
I'm sure it's pretty self-explanatory. And as soon as we finish, I'm going to review the recording to make sure that I'm on track. I'm not oblivious to being able to use it when I see it on my screen, but I don't want to have to be looking to figure it out when I call them either. Yeah. So I'll review the recording and then I can make sure I'm on the right track.
So just to do it again, and you've seen it done probably 3 or 4 times as I've transitioned, I click in, I just single tap the center of my screen, the top menu down, it says share content. I click share content, I click screen. Then this pops up, I hit start broadcast at the bottom, right in the middle of the screen, and you'll see a countdown of 3, 2, 1. Now I'm screen sharing.
So let me stop you there, Ryan. So you've got time before you hit start broadcast to make whatever changes you need to make on those numbers. And then you start broadcast to reveal it. Am I correct?
Yeah, kind of. But I mean, you'll see how it plays out in the video, how I did it. Because I was still on view with you. So you're not just looking at nothing. And I can still talk to you, but I'm really setting up my numbers in the background, and you'll see how to do that.
Okay, so I can be on view and still be using my screen to set up the numbers.
And they won't see it unless you screen share.
Okay, that was the missing link I needed to understand. So now I understand. Okay. Perfect.
And the video will help you with that because you'll actually be able to see my screen.
No, that
So I'm
makes sense.
sharing right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe up from the bottom of my screen to pull up all my options, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now I'm in my firewall.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want to stop screen sharing because I'm transitioning to wanting to speak to them face to face. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little red record button right by your Wi-Fi signal and your cellular signal, right up by the battery monitor.
Right.
So I click on that. It pulls up in the middle of the screen broadcasting, stop broadcasting screen with Zoom. I click stop.
Okay.
And then the upper corner turns to a green camera. And it's kind of, so I hit the green camera and I go back to Zoom.
Right.
So that's how you navigate, because you're going to do that a lot. Because you need to, like I said, you need to be face to face with them as much as possible, because you don't know what the heck they're receiving. Are they with you? Are they not with you? So that's that functionality. To do that, you need to be super proficient with that before you try to mess around here.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, fortunately, I'm going to have time to review the video real quick.
Yeah.
Before I call them.
That's really it. Then you can always, like I said, right now, even though you can't see it, you'll be able to see it in the recording.
Yeah.
Right now, I just swiped up and I'm going to my photos. And you can access all your photos in here. So if there were photos, if you need to recap or recount anything from the inspection, I'm doing that right now while I'm queuing up my photos, but you still see what you see. You don't see me doing all that work in the background.
Right.
And now I'm clicking back onto Zoom.
I got you.
So, as long, the important thing is you can be doing anything you want in the background. As long as you're screen sharing, they don't see it. Which is what you want. It's a much more professional transition than to have them watching your screen do all this funny stuff. They don't have a clue what, don't do that to somebody. Don't do that while you're on screen share.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess the two things that you're gonna discuss, but you just haven't covered yet, and I apologize if I'm jumping ahead too much, would be how to send the invitation and how for me to log on to my account to be able to drive this thing.
I can't remember if we set all y'all up on individual accounts or if you did. I think we set you all up with individual accounts.
I think there's a possibility that that's correct. Unfortunately, it's been so long, I don't remember. But I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that information. Shut did all that. So if you can go back and look through your emails, or you can just use our my sales team account, because I'm not going to be on Zoom, so you could use that. I'm going to have to send the invite for you.
Okay, for the sake of today and time, because I'm limited on time and I want to review the video before I call them.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that so I don't have to look through a bunch of emails and try to figure it out otherwise.
Okay, I'm gonna have to help you with that then. So let's get going with this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And there's really, again, that swiping up function. So you have only your things open that you need, which is basically numbers, photos, company cam, and what else did I say? Oops.
That's really it, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you'd have Zoom up. Oh, Keynote. So you have Keynote, Keynote numbers, photos, company cam, and then of course your Zoom's going to be running in the background. So there really should never be more than 5 things open for a pen tech. Now with citing and windows, that's not the case. There's probably additional 2 or 3 windows you need to have in your background open and ready to go. But with pen tech, you shouldn't need more than 5 functions happening in the background.
Yeah, just the numbers for their individual data, company cam for the pictures that were taken, and one more. I'm not thinking of it, but you just said it. Keynote, the keynote for the presentation. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm going to show you how to do that. Dang, I don't know how I'm going to record it. Well, I'll figure that out because we're still recording here. So that's really how you set up your virtual. That's, it's It's going to be weird the first time you do it. It's going to be super awkward, but just like anything, the only thing you can do is practice it to get better.
And I
So-
will, and I'm gonna tell them like I always do, and they're a very nice couple. I'm
Yeah.
gonna kind of use a little bit of self-deprecating humor to
Yeah.
get through this because I'm an old guy with new technology, so bear with me.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end this recording, and then we can stay on, and we'll figure out sending that thing for you.
Thank you.